Hi.
Hi, you're there. You made it. That's awesome. You were here soon. I didn't go on because I wasn't sure. I'm like, how do you do a run and then take a shower? Hello, my faithful followers and friends. We're in for a treat today because we're here with Eric Delgado, another former student of mine, but one that has left another impression on me that definitely, I've got some stories for you that are pretty funny. But I was able to track him down, and now I caught him in his car because he's a man on the move. Just got off a run, and we're going to be talking about ain't going to be no stupid Zoomer. If you don't know what that means, that's for the Gen Zers out there. I even have merch with T-shirts or any kind of mugs or anything you want on my website if you want that phrase. Um, I made it for my niece, and my brother has the ain't going to be no stupid boomer. So if you're interested in that, so let's get into the if you could introduce yourself, Eric. I didn't do a very good job.
No, it's okay. Hi, my name is Eric Delgado. I had Miss Perras as a teacher for I think 3 years, and I had her for English, drama, and what was the last one? Improv or
American Studies.
oh, Mary. Yeah, sorry, I didn't like that one that much. So
I got a
got
story
that.
from that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to start with our usual MO, which is an innocent story or something you thought was cool or something that maybe was kind of quirky at the time, and now it looks like you look back on it was kind of dumb.
Something that I think is important for a lot of people here is that like people could probably relate to is that I used to put people down. I was kind of a bully. Um, a good one that always people say is hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a pattern. Like
Yep.
the bullies are usually getting bullied too,
Mm.
and the biggest reason for it is because you're insecure. I've like realized that now, and it just made you feel better when you put someone else down. You
Yeah.
know, if you're understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I look at it now and I just think like some of those times I go back, you know, there's so many stories I could bring up where I did that. I know there's a lot of people that have probably done that, but like I think about it now and it's just like, it's so much better, like now that I know why I was doing it
Yeah.
and understanding it. And honestly, killing everyone with kindness now is so much better. Like
It really
even
is.
if they're like crapping on you, like you just come back with kindness and they can't beat it then. Like
That is
it's
so
crazy.
good.
Like but no, it's nuts. Like I've noticed it with like so many people like that I'll go and see that I haven't seen in a while and we've had like bad things come up or something and like I'm just nice to them and then they don't even know what to do. They're just like stuck. So then they're nice to me. So then
That's
it's like
brilliant.
totally squashed, yeah. And like you just feel better too, like doing the
Yep.
right thing
Yep.
and yeah, you know.
No, it's true. I really I don't know, when did you change your MO in terms of bullying others? Were you older?
I mean, we're talking even like last year I was probably doing it. You know, I'd be out with my
Wow.
friend and you know, it's I'm human, you know, people make mistakes.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I didn't even know what I was doing until I actually sat back and like thought about my life and everything. And now I see it. And I mean, yeah, we're talking about last year and I've just realized this now just by working on myself. Yeah.
Well, I love the point that you just said, you working on yourself, you're reflecting. And it's funny because when you made a comment one time in, I think it was American Studies. I was teaching, I don't remember the content, but I remember you saying to me, you must be hard to be in a relationship with because you think you're always right.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. I do remember
And it
that.
was good for me because I was like, wow, am I like that really? But as a teacher, you always have this authority, and I didn't think I'd come off that way as a teacher. So that was a really good moment for me to go, all right, Eric. Like internally, I was like, and I didn't get defensive. I'm always one when I hear, not always, we're not perfect, right? We get
Yeah.
feedback. We're not always non-defensive. But I remember that moment. I wasn't defensive, and I was like, wow,
Well,
thank
and
you.
it like I noticed like my patience has gotten so much better too. Like I would always react to things that people would say instead of responding. There's a big
Wow,
difference between
big
those
time.
two. So reacting is like, you know, somebody calls you something and you have to come back and hurt them even more.
Right.
But if you actually have the patience and you practice that and you come up with a response, the outcome is way better. And like I said, you're just killing with kindness, and yeah.
That's perfect, because as a first responder, we'll get into that in a little bit. That's interesting. You're a first responder. You're not a first reactor, you know? So that's cool. Cause I mean, what you go through with your EMT stuff, I was like, I'm like not that person going into the danger. I am the one to hide in the corner. So that's cool. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So let's talk about a stupid situationship. And it could be anything. Obviously, not many people are telling their relationship stuff, but
well, I mean, we could just talk about the whole me moving from public school, old Catholic school to public school.
Yes.
So my whole life I went to Catholic school from, I don't know, kindergarten to sophomore year of high school. And then I had to transfer because it was too expensive. And as soon as I got to Oakland, I hated it. I hated going to school. I didn't like where I was at. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I sat at lunch by myself, even though people invited me to sit with them. I would go, no, I'm good. I was so like stuck with everyone being the same in the Catholic school and wearing the same stuff and doing all the same sports and everything, to where then when I was at Oak Lawn, people are dressing different, they're talking different, they're
wearing pajamas to school.
Yeah, exactly. Wearing pajamas to school, baggy pants, and I was just like, this is not me.
Right.
But I actually needed that because it taught me that just like don't judge a book by its cover. You know, it's so cheesy and cliche, but it's so true. Like a lot of people will learn that probably at work, because that's when they actually get into the real world where they'll start seeing people that are different. But I learned it from that, and it was so nice to like learn that, because then I would, at the end of my time at Oak Lawn, I noticed that it didn't matter what people wore or the way they talked. I liked them as the person, you know?
Amazing. Yeah, I do remember you were a little more defensive when I first had you, right?
Yeah, and I'm so happy that happened, because now I go to the bar, or sorry, I shouldn't.
That's fine. No, the bar. I go. Of course, you go to the bar.
You know, I go to places, and I'm way more open to talk to people, no matter how they look, and even with work, like it makes me want to like give them the same treatment, you know, that they should get, because it doesn't matter, you know, where you're from or what you look like or anything.
I love that. Love that. Well, that definitely fits. Ain't gonna be no stupid Zoomer talk. This is perfect. So then we're going to talk about like the main dish. But before I do that, I got to say also, you were such an amazing improv actor in my improvisational acting class. Like you went for it 100%. We had such a good time. I still have all those. I still have all those on my YouTube channel, but I don't know if they're even published publicly. But I can direct people over to my teacher account. But they are you are very much one of the stars of the show. That was so good.
Oh, I tell people about that all the time.
Yeah,
I tell them all that was one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah,
I wish I would have stuck with it.
Yeah, it's never too late to go back to it.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, have another one.
I'm teaching drama again this year, so you never know. I can invite you back. We'll do a show. Yeah. Yes, I love it. Next semester. Yeah. Okay, cool. Fun. All right. EMT.
Yeah.
You tell us about your journey from high school to where you're at right now with your career.
So in high school, obviously I graduated, and I always wanted to be a fireman my whole entire life. And then like senior year of high school, I was like thinking like that would be impossible to do. Like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. And I don't know why I thought that way. It was such a bad way of thinking. And then I just started watching these videos on YouTube and stuff and working out more, and I went to the EMT class and it went really well, and I was like, all right, I got this, like, you know. And just from then on, it's been going up and up.
How do you go from like, I love that you just mentioned your thought life, because I think our thoughts are really our enemy when they get a hold of us. They really are. Everything starts here in our mind. So you got to get control of your mind. How do you get control of your mind? Before we get into more EMT stories.
I'm like going through that right now. It's so crazy that you're like bringing that up, because like I do that all the time. You could drive yourself crazy in your mind, like just by thinking. You just have to think positive. You know, if you don't think positive, then it's going to go downhill. If you keep thinking negative, it's just going to keep going down. And like, you have to want to do it. You know, if you don't want to do it, it's never going to happen. Or if you want the good things to happen, you have to think that way. And if you don't, it's not going to happen then.
Yeah, that's good. I think living in the moment too is really helpful to with those thoughts, because I also have that problem, right? If you live in the now and just like in the moment, breathe around you and really just take in what's in your moment right now, it just gets you back from the fear of the future or the anger from the past. I know that's been helping me a lot.
Yeah.
So you are a fireman or you are a first responder?
I'm a firefighter EMT.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to get hired full time at a fire department. I take my first test in July 17th. I take my first test.
Are you willing to move? Are you willing to move anywhere then?
I mean, I kind of want to move downtown this summer, so I'm thinking about that. Maybe not even this summer, but like if I do get hired, we'll see, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are some of the responsibilities you have when you are in this role?
All right. So as an EMT?
Yeah.
Okay. I got this right here. It's teamwork, having the proper equipment, and knowing how to use it properly. I promise. That is like the biggest part of a lot of jobs. To be honest, I mean,
some people don't know how to use the equipment that's on the ambulance.
I mean, no, I mean, I'm just saying that's the responsibility. You know, you have to know, you have to have the proper equipment and know how to use it properly. And there's people that they'll forget and all that stuff, but you know, that's just a main part of it. And then, you know, at the end is just treating all the patients as if they were one of your family members.
Yes.
You know, can't, because of, you know, all the race stuff that's going on, you can't change your quality, you know, or any of that. Or if they're not somebody you like, you know, you can't, it's your job. You have to treat them as like if it was one of your family members.
Would you say that most of your calls are more of an accident versus a fire? Are you doing more?
I mean, nowadays there's not a lot of fires. There's too much the way they build things now and all the alarms and all that, they just don't happen anymore. So yeah, it's mostly EMS calls that you're going to be running at a firehouse.
Is there one call you can tell me that is like your greatest success story?
So I don't like this question
because like bragging.
Yeah, it's bragging, and there's people that are doing way better. There's doctors, there's nurses, there's all those other firemen, all these other people that are doing the same stuff every day. You know, you sign up for the job, you know what you're getting yourself into, you know what you're going to be doing. You don't have to go walk around and tell everyone. I think the greatest success in it for me is just to be where I'm at today. You know, just to be able to go apply to a fire department this month coming up is, you know, great for me. I'm done with the fire academy. Like, that's nice. Like, it's great. That's a success for me. So I'll keep it at that.
Okay, got it. So then are you, okay, well, kind of like, I always think about this because whenever there's like an emergency at school, in my head, I'm always like, okay, if I have to use that machine, the defibrillator, whatever it is.
The AED, yeah.
AED. I'm always like, man, I'm running over to the next door. I'm going to ask them for help, or I'll be the one to go make the phone call. Cause like there's some people that are built for this, right? To run into danger and to fix things. I am not that person. I guess I'm just wondering, can you be trained to be that person if you're not naturally that person? Or am I just talking myself out of it that I'm not that person? You know,
you're talking yourself out of it that you're not that person. I mean, if something happens, your adrenaline's kicking, and like you're gonna do what you have to do.
You're right. You're right. I've had some dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. It kicks in. You're right. Oh, yeah. That's wild. Can you tell about your most challenging call?
Yeah. So last December, I had a psych patient on the highway that was running with no clothes on the side of the highway, and I had to tackle him because he was going to run into the highway.
Wow.
Yeah, and pretty much I had to take him off. I ran into the highway. My partner's screaming at me because all these cars are coming, and I dragged him off into the grass. I mean, me and him are going at it. I'm just trying to get his arms down just so he wouldn't move. And he's biting my arm, and we're wrestling. And all these cars are stopping to help us, but then they see that he's naked and they just drive off.
Oh,
They're like,
no.
no way. I'm not helping. I wouldn't either. If I was a normal person, I drove up, but it sucked. It really sucked. I broke my hand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I broke my hand. I was out of work for about 2 months, and I had to get my blood taken because I got bit. And it kind of messed with my head a little bit.
Yeah, that's some PTSD.
Well, to just deal with psych patients, when I get the call, I just get kind of, I don't know. But I'm really trying to deal with that right now, and I've got a good mindset on it because, can you imagine if you are a person that has those problems, you're hearing voices, and can you imagine how hard that would be to live every day with that in your head?
Exactly.
You have to feel sympathy.
Yep.
For them.
For sure.
And
was it something in there? Was there drugs within there, like off their meds and nothing like that? It was just
off the meds for sure.
Yeah, I know there's a higher reaction or a higher potential to have a spell or whatever if they were on meds and the next day they're off meds. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I mean, they're just not. A lot of them just don't take them. They just choose not to. And
yeah. So would you argue that we need more money for mental health in our system?
Absolutely. I know. 100%.
Yep. I agree with you completely.
The stuff that they're doing now just isn't working.
Yeah.
And the using drugs as the answer is not the answer. I mean, it helps some people for sure.
Right.
And that's good. Mm-hmm. But there's other things you could start off with, a habit, doing things, planning things out, I don't know. There's got to be other ways they can do it.
Yep.
Right now, whatever they're doing isn't working.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you thought the job was, since you've been wanting to be a firefighter for your whole life, and then now you're on the job and you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it would be, or I can't make as much difference as I wanted to?
Yeah, there's a difference between being a fireman and an EMT. An EMT, you work at a private company, and you're not really getting 911 calls that much. I mean, here and there we get those calls. I've done both. I've been at a firehouse and I've been on the private ambulance. Sorry. A lot of it is just transporting elderly people that aren't unable to walk, and you're putting them on oxygen because they can't do it themselves, and taking people for hospice and all that stuff. And it's not. I thought it was going to be more action packed, and it's not. But I mean, there's definitely like those days at the firehouse. There's days that are crazy. They do have the action stuff.
So you're sitting around, everything's cool, and then all of a sudden the alarm goes off, and everyone's like, boom! You're in that truck in how many seconds?
You got to be ready in less than a minute. I think.
That's crazy, and you got to get in your gear and everything, or you have half of your gear on.
No, you jump into it and put it on real quick, and then hop on.
What? And then you do the old. I'm getting all like stereotypical, like starstruck right now with do you do the pole too? The pole.
No, nobody does that anymore because I guess it caused a bunch of injuries. So
no, bummer.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. And if they do have them, they don't let you go down it.
Wow. Okay, that's wild. Yeah, and I know there's like even the lines in the city when you park your car. There's those white lines like crisscross right in front of the firehouse. There's a stoplight right over here on Illinois, and then there's, if you can't park, but people do it all the time, where you're in line, and if the trucks go and you're sitting there at the light, you're like in violation, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big point of contention. If you're following the rules and how wide the lines are, like it's like 4 or 5 car lengths to stay away, and people behind you are honking that you're not way up there. It's like, dude, the firehouse is there. You're not supposed to go that way, whatever. Oh, another question, and then we'll get into closing.
Okay.
How is it that bystanders can either help or hurt an emergency situation?
I love this question because I think you might already know what I'm going to say. Way too much cell phones. Not helping.
Filming.
it's just crazy. You go to these calls and everyone's videotaping it. You know, I was on a gas leak call the one time in an apartment building. Everyone's videotaping us over a gas leak. Like, it's just, I don't know if they're waiting for us to mess up or they're trying to just be cool, posting it on their social media. I really don't get it, you know? And then, like, you got other calls that are real messed up where, you know, somebody may have passed away and they're videotaping it. And it's like, how do you, there's no respect there. You know, that's terrible.
Yeah.
You think their family member wants that videotaped and put on social media? It's messed up.
And you can't say anything as an EMT to, like, shut up those phones. I'm sure that would put you in a combative situation, so that wouldn't be nice.
Well, that, and it's just, we're not allowed to. That's from what I know. We're not allowed to do any of that. We're not allowed to, because I mean, there's been many times where we want to take their phone and throw it on the ground.
I know.
Because it's so rude. It's like, what are you doing? And then you got situations where they could help and they're not. They're videotaping it instead just to post it on their social media. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Great point.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's bystanders that have been amazing. There's people that have been totally helpful, helped us pick people up and stuff. And those days are awesome. But it's just sad that it's more of the videotaping and all that that's happening than those days.
So it is a good idea to ask them, can I do anything or can I help when you're a witness or a bystander?
I think it just all depends. If what the situation is, if there's two of them and they got to pick someone that's really big, they would love for you to help out and be like, hey. But if they're got the tape up and everything and they have the police there to close down, I would just stand back. I wouldn't do much.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, cool. All right, here's some final thoughts that we're going to go into now. Can you just tell us, we're going to do a 3, 2, 1, but first, before we do that, I want you to tell us one question that you would like us all to think more deeply about.
All right, one question that hit me hard in this last year is, do you love yourself? I think people always ask, are you happy? But mine is, do you love yourself? Because honestly, if you don't love yourself right now, your life hasn't even started. Like, there is so much more to life when you love yourself. And I never knew that before. I did everything for what other people thought. Like, it wasn't for myself. And you can't love anyone else in your life, whether it's relationship or, you know, family members or friends, if you don't love yourself. You have to love yourself first. That's where it begins. I know it's crazy.
I love that.
I know.
No, how do you get there? You sound so self-actualized, Eric. How did you get to that point? I know you were miserable, hurt people, you said, but now how do you get, or how do you love yourself? Like, what does that practically look like?
I'm trying to think. Like, you just have to know your worth. I feel like a lot of people don't know their worth and they compare themselves. That's like a huge problem in like the world today, is comparing. Like, everybody compares themselves to everyone else. And when you don't do that, you know, you work on yourself. You do the things that are going to make you happy. And I'm trying to think, like, because I've read so much material about it now. And
well, that's a good segue then into our 3, 2, 1. 3 books that you would recommend to us then.
3 books. All right. I don't have any books.
You don't have any books?
No, I don't have any books. I have books that I've read, but my advice on that would be, so here, I'll just give you a story. I was going through some stuff and whatever, and I'm walking through Barnes & Noble, and I've never, ever in my life ever been in Barnes & Noble. I was like, this is the worst store ever. I'm walking through and I see this book, and it says, I used to be a miserable, and it says the F word. And I laugh. So I walk up and I start reading it, and I love this book. Like, it's great. Like, it's making me smile, and I'm going through, and the guy working there is like, hey man, you can't read the whole thing. So I just bought it and I read this book, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have 3 books.
No.
But you should go, I'm not going to say Barnes & Noble. You should go to a local store, keep them in business.
Yeah, those smaller businesses. Yeah.
Yes. because they're dying.
Yes.
And you should go in there and just look through the books, and whichever one comes at you, that's the book you should read. But I was in like the self-help part when I saw that book. So I don't know if that'll help people.
Yes,
but
I'll put that in there. With maybe an asterisk or not.
Yeah.
I have another guest that recommended How to Unfuck Yourself, I think she said.
Yeah, I bought that for my mom. She, her face when I gave it to her, she's like, oh, what? But she loves it.
That's great.
But she loves the book.
I bought it too. No, I bought it too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, she likes it. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have 3 books, but we have a great advice and a great story that you just shared. How about 2 TV shows we need to watch?
I don't have 2 TV shows.
Okay.
But I can tell you, if you go on YouTube, there are so many motivational videos, and you can look up videos that are just for what you want.
Yes.
You know, maybe whatever you're lacking in, you can look that up. Some of your favorite actors, actresses, sports players, they all have videos like that. You would never like. There's so many people that I like. I didn't even know they had videos like that.
Yep.
And they've helped me so much. Like one of my favorites, Matthew McConaughey, or Ray Lewis, football player. I love that, his stuff. You know, it's so random, but they've helped me out so much. Yeah.
I love that. I love a man who's going to always reflect and try to get better. And I think that's a huge takeaway from what we're talking about here. So then that kind of leads into our final thought, which is our one habit we need to adopt.
One habit. I don't know if this is really a habit, but just deleting social media for me made my life so much better. And I think that's not really a habit, but
no.
I feel like it's a habit. It's a habit to be going on it all the time.
It's
a lot of people,
right? And it's self-love to delete it.
Well, yeah, and people don't understand that. And you got all these younger kids now that what they think is cool because of like these people are so popular, and it's not cool, and it's ruining the world. I don't know how to explain it.
I know.
I'm not saying it really that well. Like
no, I think you are. I think you said it very well.
It's just scary. It's scary, the stuff that these kids are seeing and what they think is cool and what's normal, and it's not normal, and it's hurting them so much. You know, these likes, all these likes that everyone has, and you know, if you don't get a lot of likes, does that mean you're a bad person? Does that mean you suck? Like, that's terrible.
It is.
It'll kill someone.
It is.
It literally will hurt. It'll hurt them so much. And And for me, you know, I deleted it all. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? And I love it. I think it's amazing that I don't have it. I wake up every day. I don't have to look at my phone. I just do what I have to do. I don't waste time, because really all the phone does is bring a bill. That's really the only thing that a cell phone does.
Yep.
And I don't know.
Great advice.
Yeah.
You definitely ain't going to be no stupid Zoomer. You are you're a Gen Zer, right?
Yeah, I'm a Gen Z. I don't like to tell people that though.
Why?
I just don't like that generation. I just think the way they work, the social media, the texting, no kids play anymore outside. I mean, they do, but it's not like how it was when I was a kid. Like, we didn't have these iPads or anything. We didn't have any of that stuff. We didn't have our cell phones. And like, even my younger cousins, like, I see them all the time. They're just sitting there on the phone.
Yes. It's the same in school. Yeah. Not just the phone, but just the iPad, and everybody's kind of just shut down. So
yeah, it's just killing the social interaction.
Yeah, it is. COVID didn't help either.
Even with adults though. Like,
yeah,
I'll go to the store, or I was at the eye doctor last week, and everyone waiting is just sitting there looking at their phone.
I know.
You go to places, everyone just sits there in line looking at their phone.
It's a good point.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks, Eric. This has been such a great talk. I know we've inspired many people. And I just want to say I appreciate you. And always remember to live by yes and, as you learned in improv class. Bye.
Bye, Ms. Perras. Thank you.